I wanted to give you a quick update on what I've been working on over the last few days, which has to do with my websites. I run several websites, many websites actually. No, it's not that many. It used to be a great deal more. Kind of my creative process is really working out what do I need for what, and as such sometimes we just have to get started with something until we realize we no longer need that. But also as time evolves and needs evolves and usage habits evolve, you just have to find different ways of doing things, and as such it's a huge project tackling websites on many aspects, on many levels. So one is the technical aspects, like making it all. How do you do it? How do you do it technically? But then there's also another approach that I find very important. That's the content aspect of it. So what would you like to be on your websites? What's currently relevant? What's no longer relevant? And then the third thing is, how do you want to present that? Where do you want it to go? So those are all things that I'm thinking about while I'm doing this project. And I thought I'd talk you through how I do it, where we are right now, and where we're going with my websites. So currently, let me talk you through the state of affairs as of, right now. These are the two websites that I'm updating. This one is my main website, was one of my main websites, the WP Guru. It started off in 2009. There we go, 2009, as a notebook for myself on all things WordPress, really. But with WordPress, as I started taking notes on WordPress, it also then became a thing. Let me scroll right to the bottom of it before I go back up. It's turned into a thing. My goodness, the advert's terrible. It turned into a thing in which I could take notes on not only WordPress, but also web development, server administration, and a lot of other techie bits that I just tacked on there. So these websites, if I were logged into this website, we wouldn't see them. And it's a bit long, so I'm going to change the whole thing around a little bit. So this site never really had a concept, and I think it's about time that we gave it a purpose and a better concept. It kind of crept in. So it has the front page, it has the About Me page, it has links to some of the projects that I'm doing, some of the code repositories. It also has a watch page, which brings in my latest videos from YouTube. And it has social links dotted around on the sides and all. So, those things, they kind of work all right. You can tap through it, but it's not really, there's no cohesive concept about it. So content discovery isn't a strong suit here. There's also a link to my podcasts. There's also most importantly, a site like a dedicated landing page for people to give me donations. That is nice. So that shows that off. It kind of collects all the links and affiliate things that I've got going, both for me and for other people. If they want to support me, they can go via these affiliate links. Or it's nice for me that if I want to give someone an affiliate link, I can do that. So there's that. And there's a long list. There's a hire me button so people can hire me for private sessions. That's important. We've got that here with two purchasable buttons. But graphically, sometimes this widget isn't working. This eats into the bottom bar, and it's not very extensible. It's a theme called 2013, and it's based really on a default theme of WordPress that came out literally 7 years ago. So I've had this website, I think, with this look and feel for about a good 6 years now, 5 or 6 years at least. And it's nice. I wanted a cohesive layout across all my websites. I wanted something that makes my life easier when I update things. So there we go. That's what that is. This bit is fairly new on this website here. That is giving people the option to sign up for Patreon and Ko-fi, and it explains ad-free browsing. So this bit I'm probably going to keep, but the rest is more or less going to change. One thing that I'm quite proud of here is the table of contents. So this aids content discoveries. So what is this website actually about? What do you write about? Because mostly people don't really come to a website and then they check out your menus and check out the links. They look in Google and they find a post on the website that then gets visitors in. And from there, people, if you're lucky, go and check out who are you, what are you writing about, are you somebody of interest that I might want to bookmark or follow or whatever. So this is a list of articles. This is a list of all articles on this website. Quite amazingly, 902 articles. And I have written does a kind of word count here, live updated word count. I've written 410,000 words on this website alone. So this is not the only project I'm doing. There's a lot of other projects I'm doing. So I must have written close to 1 million words, really. And that is... yeah, there we go. I've written a whopping 392,000 words on this site alone, not including the 80,951 that I've written as comments in response to my readers. So quite impressive. And this is a huge, long list of literally every article I've ever written. And I need to really change that because it's just a really long list. So I think I want to group this by headline followed by articles per year that I've written there. But that's kind of under the hood stuff. Usually people go and come to an article like this. This is a single article in which I'm explaining stuff. Sometimes it contains a video. Sometimes it also doubles up as a podcast episode, contains a code snippet, and people are kind of happy about that. At the bottom, you see related articles that might float the reader's boat. Little bio about me. And then on the bottom, you have comments. So this is the stuff that readers submit. And therefore, this is a very interactive experience. So this is usually what somebody sees. They come here, which is why it makes sense for things to be presented everywhere. But, and this is the big but, the website, other than me having a notebook on which I can write things down so I don't forget stuff, it doesn't really have a purpose. So if you go to the front page, it doesn't really present me as who am I? What am I doing? I mean, yeah, it's got the latest video here and it's got the stream schedule here with the sticky posts. So all my new posts, they will be posted at the bottom here. But that's really it. It doesn't have, some people, they're really good at selling themselves. I'm not. And so that's what I'm trying to tackle here. If we compare this to my other website, Versluis.com, this is a site that has more or less the same layout, but it's about different things. While the WP Guru website, I'd like to think is about WordPress, web development, coding, hacking, tech reviews, and a bit of gaming, and kind of a showcase page for my YouTube channel, perhaps. The Versluis.com is more about me, who am I, what else have I done, books I've written, 3D stuff I've done, tutorial series I've done, and, landing pages for books, that sort of thing, with listening examples and all that. But again, it's other than it having a dedicated front page, it's more or less the same layout. So we have the same table of contents for articles, for all articles, and then a filtered version for DAZ, Unreal Engine, all the topics that I'm writing about on this website. And from there, people can then go and explore. But much like on the other website, people go to a single article, like, what is an event dispatcher for Unreal Engine, for example. They come here, they read that, they get adverts, which make me a bit of money. They get screenshots, they get an explanation of how things work. Same thing, bio, add your voice, and a few things dotted at the bottom here. When I say they get that, it technically is me that gets that, because I'm writing these things down for the sole purpose of a future me in mind, so that I remember how these things worked at one point. So because 3 months from now, I won't be able to remember how do event dispatches in Unreal Engine work again. And there's also an option to go onto Unreal Engine right here, and then they get, you get a filtered list of all articles in this category. So, nicely done. It serves a purpose, but it's not great because it doesn't really, I don't really like the layout that much. I like the random header image in the top. So every time you refresh a page, if I go to, this article now, you get a different header. If I go and refresh this page, you get a different header. And those are all things those are Holger images, really, medium format Holger images that I've shot a while ago, and it kind of integrates really well. So there were some aspects that I like to retain and some aspects that I wanted to change. So then I was thinking, well, how do I go about doing that? What would be a good replacement theme for that? And a while ago, I think in April, you've seen me work on my games collection and further on then on my 3D assets collection. And this is what that looks like. So those are websites I've built with the specific purpose in mind, just to be able to order the items that I currently own. So About the Site kind of explains what the site's about, to me as well as anyone else. It's about the 3D assets that I own, and for me to get an impression of which assets am I allowed to use with a 3D project. So list of all assets, it's a bit like what I had on the other website there, gives me a link to every asset that I own on any marketplace. And if I go there, then I can get a screenshot of where I bought that. So this was from the DAS store. It's also filed under bought from the DAS 3D store, and I haven't really tried it out yet in anything, and it's in the genre of characters. So that's the reason why I did this, is because I wanted to have an overview of what interactive assets am I allowed to use with Unreal Engine. That's really what the purpose of this mini project was about. But the cool thing is, through that I discovered a new theme called Generic Press, and that is a very lightweight WordPress theme that kind of does exactly what I wanted it to do, and it's well documented on top of that, and it lets me amend the website in several ways. So many of these amendments I've made myself from scratch, and I'll talk you through how I did that. Put the menu here, added like Cinti store assets, these would be from one store. Humble assets, these would be from the Humble store. Epic would be from the Epic marketplace, and then DAS 3D assets would be from the DAS marketplace. So again, only with interactive licenses. I haven't included the Poser marketplace or the assets that I've bought that don't have interactive licenses. But yes, this is what that's kind of, that's what that's about. And I started through that. I was thinking, well, this theme with all the extensions could well work for my other websites. Now that I've gotten my teeth into how to use this under the hood, I've used it also for the games collection, played around with it a little bit, extended it a little bit to play with things that I might use on my main websites. So these are kind of test websites that serve a purpose, but they're not really for visitors, they're more for me. So I've played around with the opacity of the top menu here, and also played around with the random header image in the combined page hero, I believe they call it. So if you refresh that, you get a different image from among trees. So that's kind of nice. And this is similarly to the assets project. This gives me an overview of what games I own. So all games, 247 games that I own, which ones have I actually played, which ones do I have to yet to try out, which ones float my boat, which ones are terrible, which ones have I streamed, and so forth. So if we were to go, I don't know, to something I have streamed, oh, there we go, I can have a look here, Streamable, that is something that I'm thinking might be good as a game to stream. And then on the bottom here, I have a category that says streamed it. So if I use this, then I can see what games I've streamed. And then when I click there, it comes up with a little embedded playlist of what I've actually done there. So it's kind of a record of, the hard work I've been putting in over the years, and including a little link at the bottom so that people can go and buy it if they want it. So I was kind of inspired by this. I'm showing you this because these are kind of various pre-stages of something that I then went ahead and developed over the last last week or two for my main websites. So that was this one. That's the one we're replacing. And currently, is it this one? Yes. This is what the new website is going to be like. This is what both Versluis.com and WP Guru are going to look like. So they're going to have a different header, and they're going to have a different front page, but the look and feel of it, that's what this is going to be like. So this is on a temporary domain. This is on new.wpguru.co.uk. You could probably look at that until I take it down and replace the main website with it. But yes, this is what it looks like. I've got a much more streamlined menu that lists articles just like before with custom queries, but the header looks a little bit more palatable, and it is way more extensible for me. I like the font a little bit better. It is easier on the eye. There's less distractions here, and at the bottom here I have the option to put up to 5 columns in the bottom for widgets like these that link to other places, like my other websites, my books that I didn't want to mention at the top, my streaming destinations, my social icons at the bottom. So that's kind of what I frickled together over the last week. But there are a lot of things that are going on under the hood. The articles, the content is of course the same, but it needed to look palatable. So getting the formatting correct here is one thing. It also needs to look good when I look at it on a small mobile phone screen when the whole site is squished together. Can I emulate that? Let me see if I can show you how this works. If I go and squeeze this together, you can see that the graphic header at one point goes away, and the top menu is going to collapse. So this is what a smaller screen looks like. You've got a menu at the top. So it's important for the websites to look the part on smaller screens. The older websites were not responsive. That's what this kind of principle is called, really. If something is responsive, if it isn't responsive, then things don't change according to the screen layout. Things just get tiny. And if you have like a hard-coded website that doesn't have media queries in the CSS, what often happens is that the whole website is being shown, but the whole website is kind of shrunk down into stamp size, and people really can't navigate this very well. So those are all the things that were important to me to test, so that every use case works correctly on a tablet, on a mobile phone, on a large screen, on a small screen. Like one of the things, I'm usually making my screen size a little bit bigger here, 120%. So this is what it normally looks like, but it still looks pretty good, and you can even make it even bigger if you like, and the content kind of adapts magically. Whereas on my Versluis.com site, which looks good at 120%, if I make that smaller to 100%, you can see that the header doesn't actually fill out the whole screen anymore. And that's because it was built 5-6 years ago, where larger image resolutions weren't as big a deal as they are today. So today, you're talking 4K screens, you're talking Retina screens. You really need something that doesn't do that. I believe it still is responsive to a certain extent. Yeah, it is to a certain extent it works. So the header adapts to a certain extent. The adverts don't, but hey, that's just neither here nor there. I'm gonna replace this website with the same layout that I've just shown you here. But one of the things I wanted to go through is what else I'm implementing and why this is such a big thing under the hood for me. So while the technical stuff is one thing that certainly gets my head smoking, the other thing is that I'm implementing this ad-free browsing feature, and that is related to my videos here. So rather than just have the tab, which is still working like I did show you before, that it just grabs the last so many videos from my YouTube channel with a plugin there, it also now splits out playlists that I have. So like tips and tricks on OBS. If I click on here, then I have embedded the OBS playlist here, and people can then go and watch all my OBS type videos here in a handy playlist. So interestingly, should it be more? I wonder. No, I think I've split that out as well. Little explanation of what that is, but really the purpose of this is that it allows me to make my past content more discoverable. So I have a ton of content that if people don't accidentally stumble upon it, no one will ever find. So it's a good showcase to do that. Add an explanation. I can add explanations here as well in the bottom part. But this way, all these cohesive things I've made, they get their own page, which I think is quite important. And I've split out the full courses over here. So they were in one large long list that just continued further and further. I thought I'm going to go split out the full courses here, like the Streaming 101 course, the WordPress course, and then my Versluis.com site, that's all about 3D. So that'll get the DAZ Studio 101 course and so forth. So that's how that works. But I went one step further, and I thought for supporters, and this is kind of important why I'm mentioning this, for supporters, I would like for them to be logged in. Like I am currently logged into my website. I can see the back end here. I can do all kinds of adjustments. And if I go to a video page, much like a regular single post, I don't see any adverts, which is important. Also notice that I'm seeing the Vimeo playlist here. So I'm getting the videos served from Vimeo, which of course don't have adverts on there. Now, if I just copy the URL here, and I'm going to open another browser window, and I'm going to make that a private window. That means the private window means it doesn't track what I'm doing, and it also doesn't know that I'm currently logged in to my website. That's important for testing, because if I go and paste my URL in here, my website under the hood is essentially asking, is this user logged in? And if so, then it's somebody I've approved, probably most likely a supporter or an administrator. And at that point, don't serve adverts. However, if the user is not logged in, which is what this is now simulating, please do serve adverts, and also bring in the YouTube playlist rather than the Vimeo playlist. So that's kind of a query underneath the hood that goes on there. So not logged in viewers get the content from YouTube, and logged in viewers will get video content from Vimeo, and as such I can give them ad-free access to my videos, which is awesome for 4 courses. So these are the tech courses in WordPress. Making podcasts is a mini series. There was another one which was about Xcode. I might put that on here, even though it's old and no longer relevant. It is something that I put a lot of work in, and I thought it might be a good idea to, just make that discoverable, and probably also put a date at the end here. So Streaming 101 is from 2020. WordPress 101 is from 2015. That's also kind of a while ago. WordPress has changed quite a bit since then. And then the Xcode thing, I think that was, what was that again? In-app purchases in Xcode, yes, big topic. Still half relevant, but I'm no longer doing it. So it would have gone on my third website that I've kind of divested of. So there we go. That's what I've done here. And I've got projects at the top, which link to things that past projects, they are kind of no longer there. Child Theme Wizard and the Zendash, those things, they will get a dedicated landing page that I can then describe the project on, and also link off into the various bits. This brings in a custom query, everything that I've released there, and 15 thoughts. Those are comments from viewers or from readers that I can then go and answer. So that's how that works. There's official links to the WordPress repository, the GitHub repository. So those things, they take a little bit of time to get it right, and I think I've done that. I think I've done an okay job to build something that takes a while to put together, but it is also important to put it in place now, because I keep producing more and more content, and as such I need a platform that can grow with me. And I think I've kind of outgrown the previous theme, so this is what both Versluis.com and the WP Guru are gonna look like. Now, as I said, on Versluis.com I haven't started yet with it. I believe there is a beta version that we can look at. I think it's beta.versluis.com, and I've literally just cloned my existing website and just put the vanilla generate press theme on here. So it has none of the improvements that I've just implemented, like look and feel, is still very much black and white, and it doesn't have anything else in here. But I need to do the same thing with this now over the next week or two, and implement all the features that I've just shown you for the WP Guru. A nice header image, a nice font at the top. And this side, that needs to be a little bit more about me, and just show what I'm doing and the multitude of projects that I have. And also, this is another thing I wanted to bring to your attention. One of the things on the WP Guru here under videos is this one that hasn't made it into the menu yet, is a JPlace. I think it's just a menu link that I've forgotten. I think it's just JPlace. That gets its own just landing page, really, with a list of all the games I've played that link you to all the YouTube playlists. So if we stick with Among Trees, then that's where that is. I'm partly making that because although YouTube does an awesome job at letting viewers discover single videos, they don't do such a good job at letting viewers see what the body of work is that you've got hiding in your 10-year-old channel. I have like 400 or 500 videos on my channel, and it's very difficult for viewers to find out what's where. So if I go to the front page of my channel, then this is what it looks like. By the way, big tip for everyone who's running a YouTube channel: the home tab is something that you must customize. Otherwise, you get one single strip that shows you just a long list of videos that you've uploaded, but nothing else. So this whole front page is usually completely white and completely blank. And it's a good opportunity for you to add some videos in playlists and kind of introduce your channel manually to those of you who are new. Hey, this is what my channel is all about. These are the topics I'm covering, and then showcase some of the playlists or some of the videos that you've got hiding. And yes, so that's a tip that all the YouTube gurus have. There's several widgets that you can amend here, but most people don't do that because they don't know that they have to do that. You have to head over here to customize channel and then go ahead and do that. Videos is just a big wall of everything you've uploaded. And so some of these videos I might just go and make unlisted because they just clutter up the page, and tons of Stardew highlights, while exciting, they might give away that my channel is more about gaming than about other things. And I do so much, it's really difficult to say what is my channel about. I don't think my channel is about anything. It's just a place that I upload things and do live streams on. But then how do you discover what's in it? You think, well, that's where playlists come in quite clearly. You go to playlists, and once again, I need to sort this out here. You can see a list of your own playlists, but even those are not well presented. I find this time and time again, if viewer leaves me a comment on a particular OBS video, for example, or a particular DAS video, and they say, hey, I wonder if you can help me. I've got this problem. I don't know how to do this. And I'm thinking, well, I have a video on that, but it looks like you haven't found it. So I can then have to dig it out and give it to them. And they're very grateful. If I give them a link to a playlist, they go and watch the whole playlist. So they're very grateful for that. But it shows me that they haven't discovered it themselves. And it's not because they weren't looking. It's just that the way playlists and videos are presented on the YouTube page isn't great. So that's partly why I'm making my website look a little bit more presentable, so that people can then rediscover all the content. If I attract viewers now and they think, hey, there's 1 or 2 videos I've watched from you that are great, chances are you have 50 more. Where do I find those easily? Then I need a place like a website where I can send them to and go, hey, explore this, and that'll give you an impression of what I've done. And of course, and last but not least, it's great for me because I need to have a list where I put things down. I need to have a way to search things easily. So that's where my search function on the website comes in. So every time there's something I'm not entirely sure about, or maybe I'll show you this on the Versluis website, maybe on the old Versluis website there, because it works the same way. You hit the search bar and you say something about, well, how do DAS morphs work again? DAS morphs in Blender, maybe you just search for that, and then all my articles come up, which then in turn have a link usually to the video. So how to create DAS character morphs with Blender. Oh, great. How did that work again? And then I can go there. It has a link to the video here, a little description. And so that's usually what I use to find the related information. Then I give that to viewers who have a question. But it's important that it's kind of a self-serve thing that many people are doing research on their own. Of course, not everyone asks questions, but everyone needs to have easy information at their fingertips. So that is what I've been doing over the last week or two, and that is what I will continue to do. And then the Versluis.com site will have things like I've shown you here on the WP Guru, on the new version. It'll have links to the full courses and the videos as well. So if you don't mind, have a look at this new.wpguru.co.uk and let me know what you think. Let me know what's missing. Like, one thing I can tell you what's missing is a homepage. So currently the homepage is just this, but I would like for this to be a static page that has less text, no sidebar, and just showcases who am I, what am I doing, what's this website about, and really that's really it. I don't want to have an about page anymore. I'd like for that to be taken care of by the home page. And that, of course, brings up another difficult issue for me as somebody who does so much. What am I actually doing? That is a very good question. And that is something that I find difficult to focus on. So that is also part of the process. So there's the technical bits, there's the organizational bits, and then there's also the self-finding bits on it. And that is why updating websites is such a tough job, really. But yes, I think I've made a good start here. I've made a good start with just having one single line and narrowing it down. What is this project about? That's good for the front page. But now underneath here, we need to go into a little bit more detail. And yes, so that is what I will spend the next few days on. And then probably next week or so, I'll make this live, and then I'll tackle versluis.com and, rejig it in much the same way. That is, oh yes, there was one other thing I wanted to show you. How am I actually doing this on under the hood? So on one hand, doing this is a mixture of using the back end and heading over to pages and then writing a page about whatever it is that you want to write about, like the Hire Me page, just as an example, that will look like this in the back end. It allows me to add pictures here, write text, put any kinds of other blocks in here, and then just go and publish this. Then I need to head over to appearance menus and make sure this page appears somewhere in the menus here. So I can write pages that do not appear in the top menu, for example. But yeah, this one is here. I can also order the menu items. Podcasts, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to leave that there. I might just put podcasts under projects, actually. Because yeah, podcasts, that's a carryover from my other side. They're not that popular. I've got them because they work and it's fairly easy to do, but it's another piece of stuff you need to do upkeep with, So while this has links to my podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher, and some have links to Spotify here, it might not be popular enough to warrant it featuring as a top menu thing. I might switch that to projects. And if I were to do that, I would head over to menus. Might as well do that right now. And take my podcasts and drag that under projects. Save this. It's a good demonstration, actually. And then I go over here, maybe go over to the front page again. And then you'll see that podcast has gone away between videos and projects, and that is now hiding under here. So same page, it just shortens the menu and whittles down what I like to be relevant to the viewer. I think those are all important things to do there. So yes, hence front page needs to be just narrowed down, just written out, and what's important for the first time visitor. I want to give them a good impression. I wanted to do that quite quickly, and boom, that's it. So pertinent information, and what's my stream schedule, and what can you expect from the site. Boom, that's really all we need. And from then on, it's over to you. If you're interested, keep exploring. That's the kind of approach there. But things like articles here. What's a list of all my Linux related articles? 111 articles. How's that done? Well, that's a custom query. For that you need a bit of PHP knowledge, or that's how I'd like to implement that. And so the page then, under page, what was it? Linux, I believe. Linux articles. That on the page really just looks like this. This is completely empty. That is just one empty page, so that WordPress can bring up a page. And then in here, it just shows a table of contents template. And it is this template that will in CSS work out what is supposed to be displayed on this website. So this is Visual Studio Code. That is where I do all my CSS and PHP coding in. And our thing is being brought in technically with a file called functions.php, which looks very slim, but it brings in all kinds of other smaller files. So that means while the web server is happy working with a massive long file under the hood, I'm not very happy about that. So I like to break things down in smaller chunks and then load them all individually. And the one that I need to load, I believe, is called TOC queries. That's the one. And this is essentially asking, so when this page is called there, then it determines which page, what's the page title here, what's the page. So if it is asking, is it a page that contains all articles, then like with the title TOC, then call this function. And this function is then this, That is this function. And that then goes ahead and says, hey, count all posts of basically everything. Sorry, that's not actually this function. Sorry, it's this one here. All articles. That's the one. So if, what is that? So you execute the query, then you put a bit of formatting in, and then you write out text that you'd like to see on the page. And that happens depending literally on which page title is called. So if it's the Commodore page, list my Commodore titles. If it's the how-to page, do that. If it's the Linux page, then do that, and so forth. And so that is then how information ends up on there, and I don't have to rewrite the same thing over and over again. I don't have to type things in. I can just let PHP and MySQL or MariaDB handle the actual query and bringing up the bits and bobs. And the same thing happens with the video, so that when video page is called and somebody says, hey, show me whatever, DAZ Studio 101, the whole series, then it says, well, if the user is logged in, then show him the Vimeo playlist and embed that. If the viewer is not logged in, then show him the YouTube playlist. So the PHP code knows both pieces of PHP, and it then gives out conditionally what needs to be shown when. It's a bit like, I mean, it's a little bit like what Amazon do. They don't work with WordPress, of course, but they work with a similar thing that if you've bought, I don't know, a pocket watch before, we'll show you 12 other pocket watches. But if you've bought, I don't know, a bottle of deodorant before, then we'll show you other deodorants instead. So this is called dynamic websites. Websites are dynamic that way. Anyway, I thought that was probably way more information than you actually wanted. I thought I will just talk you through it, and I will continue to make improvements on my websites and hopefully make it easier for everyone, new visitors, established visitors, people who've known me for a while, who didn't actually know all the things I've been doing, just to make it possible for everyone to discover more of my content, and also for me to get an overview of how much have I actually done. Because that is another thing that I've noticed when it comes to this organizational bits and pieces there. I'm often surprised of how much stuff I've actually written and done and recorded and demonstrated over the years, regardless if it's still relevant, technically accurate, no longer something anyone uses. Be that as it may, I mean, it's work that I've put in, and it is so quick that we forget that we've done that. You know, a book you've written 10 years ago, for example, is that still relevant? No, it isn't anymore, but you still put the work in, and it doesn't mean you should forget about it and then think that you've not done anything all through this time. You know, I tend to think of myself as somebody who often doesn't have a lot to show for what I've done, because often my days look like I'm pottering around with some piece of 3D software, and having wasted 6 hours, I haven't got a single render to show for it. And if it was a render, it was of a badly lit cube or something, and you think, yeah, well, that's just not something I want to post anywhere. Close, delete, move on with life, you know. But the effect of that is that sometimes you just don't know how hard you've worked. And so that is another part of me. That's why my websites are so precious to me, because they are kind of a time capsule that records how much I've done when over the years. And I don't want that information to get lost. It's a bit like what we've talked about in the previous episode with the Arctic Code Vault contributor thing, that it would be nice if that would be etched in stone, so to say, and would survive a few more decades, you know, until it is completely no longer relevant. It is already at a point where I'm thinking, if I'm watching an old YouTube tutorial of mine, for example, that is still bringing in tons and tons of views, it is kind of interesting to see that how much web interfaces have changed, and what was relevant then, what isn't relevant anymore, is still a good record of, oh yeah, I remember that's what we did back then. COVID, great example. Do you remember when meeting people and going out for a meal and all that, working in an office, commuting to work, being in a tube carriage with 5,000 other people this close in your face? Do you remember that was reality at one point? We remember that, but maybe the future generation might not remember that that has ever happened. Victorian times, period dramas, we like to watch it because we think, hey, that's awesome. I can't imagine what it would be like having lived that way. For them, it was normality. But if there's no record of how things have happened, then that's kind of a shame. And all that archiving thing goes into my websites as well. So making sure that what I've once done is not forgotten, is not lost and forgotten. So there we go. I could go on and on, but I know you're busy people, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for watching. I've changed my streaming schedule, by the way, if you want to drop by and say hello. I'm streaming Friday, Saturday, and Sunday so that I have a little bit more time for projects like this and the ton of other 3D videos and tech videos that I want to record that are on my big Trello board that I will let you know as soon as I have a public URL to that. Drop by and join me. I think we're playing A Short Hike, which is a wonderful, cute little game with lots of time to chat and chill. 10 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time. My friends, thank you so much for watching. I will see you hopefully very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.